How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C and Ashton. We have a very special guest this week. We have Matt Cardis, also known as Golfinyourstate. You can find him on all social media platforms. If you don't know anything about Golfinyourstate, he is a golf travel vlog specialist in all aspects. He has done some great things with his golf wall project. He's done some great things with his new project he's doing called the Detour. He basically goes around across the country, has done special things with the USGA, basically promoting the game that we all love. So please tune in. It is going to be an exciting episode to listen to. We are very stoked for this episode.
Yeah, this was a special one because I think the big thing for us is I've loved having on our buddies. I love having on my dad. But very honestly, I think that this is the first one we ever had where, Matt has some real notoriety. He knows, connected to a lot of the golf courses that we both play, like Sweetens Cove, and ones that we want to play as well. So I think that Matt has a really unique perspective. We talk to him a lot about public golf. But I think the other thing that we're finding more and more as a theme, and this is certainly with public golf, right, is the inclusivity piece. So really understanding what inclusivity means to him, understanding how he became, how he really got into golf. And interesting too, finding some commonalities, which sure, public golf, but the thing that stuck out to me, you'll hear it on the podcast, is hearing how both me and Chris and Matt all kind of had a stint where we didn't play golf, and how now three of us, for all three of us, are so a central figure in our life is golf. So we certainly hope y'all enjoy. And here we go.
What's happening, Matt?
Yo.
Hey, Matt. Nice to meet you.
There we go.
Matt, this is Ashton.
Oh, we're already recording. I'm late.
No, you're all good.
Sorry, yeah.
So, Ashton, that's the van.
Yeah.
You unfortunately weren't available to come out to Brentwood when I met up with him.
Yeah, welcome to my home.
Matt let me sign the family panel, which was pretty sick.
Yeah, you want to see it? Should I put it on since we're mobile? Oh, ow.
Where are you staying right now?
I'm at my buddy's house in LA.
Yeah, there we are.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
It's also so great because it's like when somebody meets, I imagine a little girl meets Taylor Swift. I was getting these all caps texts and Big Chris. It's I just signed the van right by the front door. You're not here. And I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Just rubbing it in his face the whole time.
Yeah.
It's so funny when my mom was the first person to sign that panel, and she's like, Matt, you better not let anyone else sign it. And my original plan was just that, it's mom and dad's panel, nobody's gonna sign it. And I was hanging out with Rondell Barrio, my coach, and I just handed him the pen, didn't even look at where he signed right under mom. I was like, oh man, all right, now I gotta explain this to my mother. And it was funny because I went back again, and I didn't say anything to Ron. I was just like, whatever, it's cool. And so I went back again, and he signed it again in Sharpie. RDB twice is what he wrote. It's so good. It was, yeah.
That's why I didn't feel so bad. I wasn't the first one to ruin the family panel.
No. At this point, every inch of this thing's going to get covered. So
yeah. So how many are on there right now?
I added it up that day at golf ball, and I think it was 600 and something.
That's fucking crazy.
It's a lot.
That's crazy, dude. You should see the panel with all the skaters on it.
Yeah, 6.
That was one of the coolest things. P-Rod's on there, dude.
601.
Oh damn.
Yeah. There's it's cool for me, when I look at the van and see the signatures, it takes me right back to that moment. I remember almost all of them. It's harder for the ones that really signed it, that you can't read their name, but most of them I can look at and be like, that was signed around that time at that place. This is what we did that day. There's experiences tied to all of it, right? And so for me, it like immediate flashback to what I got to experience with that person wherever it may have been. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
I mean, that's kind of the meaning why we do the podcast, and kind of how me and Ashton met. Like, our story really is, during COVID, we were all kind of, just stir crazy at home. And I posted in a group chat that 40 of us in the Bay Area were in, that we all like posted tee times to play with each other. It's like, hey, I want to take a Southern California golf trip. Is anybody down?
Yeah.
And Ashton and two other of our buddies, like, I actually haven't met all three of them at that point. Like, I've never even seen them in person. And they're all like down. And they just all Venmo'd me a shit ton of money. Like, I rented a van, picked them all up in the city, and we just went on a 4-day golf trip, seven rounds, 4 days.
Yeah, you're invested once you hand over that money, right?
Oh, shit.
Like, this is happening. I don't even know what this kid's about to plan, but I'm in.
That's it. And they just put total faith in a stranger to book this epic trip. And we did like Sandpiper and Monarch Dunes and Cypress Ridge and some really crazy good tracks.
Yeah.
For us, it's all about public golf. So that's what we're heavily invested in. We want to support, me as a high school coach, and just growing up on a local muni in the Bay Area. I played a 9-hole course called Prune Ridge every fucking day after school for my entire, from 9 until I graduated high school. So, it's our biggest thing is we just love to support local tracks and, the whole public scene altogether. There's got to be a track that you fell in love with the game of golf on. What do you think that track was?
My love with golf has went through peaks and valleys throughout my life, right? Like, I grew up playing as a kid in Long Island with my father, and as I grew, like in my teen years, I didn't want anything to do with it. That could be kind of an interesting story for you, right? Like, I really fell out of love with golf because my father was a member at a prestigious club. You had to wear a suit and tie to go there. It just wasn't my style when I was a teenager, and I hated it. Like, I hated the whole experience that I had to get dressed up to go somewhere, right? And, in hindsight for me now, it's like, man, what a prick I was. Like, I had the opportunity to play this fabulous place all the time, and I never wanted to take advantage of it when I actually had the opportunity. Now I'm fortunate I get to go play with my father and my father's friends and whatnot still when I'm back here in LA. But it was really like, in my mid 20s, early 30s is when I was living in Utah and Jackson Hole, I started playing a lot of public tracks there. And like, that's really what kind of got me going was, the ability to play all these unique mountain courses. And, that's really where I kind of saw the connection between, my love of nature and the nature on a golf course, right? See tons of wildlife. And, there was just so many things I loved about it. So kind of like in that point in my life, I was playing a lot of public golf. And then again, I joined my first club, right? So here I am, a member at a golf club in Jackson Hole. And that's like, I got full on addiction there. Right. But that's ultimately, being a member at that club for a short period of time led me to, what I do today. It's really where I got the golf bug. And, now in my travels, they're very different experiences, public versus private, right? Like everybody knows that. And, I've found that, with my lifestyle and, I'm connecting with, the everyday golfer everywhere that I go. That's the ultimate goal, document the modern day culture of golf in America. And, I'm finding that more and more people, especially the younger demographic, is playing public golf 100%. I think when, people talk about the game of golf struggling, a lot of times they're talking about that private sector. And the reason for that, in my belief and my understanding from what I've learned in my travels in the past 4 years, is that younger people would much rather take that $40,000 that you're going to spend on your annual membership to a golf club, and they would much rather have 4 amazing blowout golf experience trips. They'd rather go to Bandon Dunes for a week with their buddies, go to Cabot, go to, you name it, wherever it might be, but go to some destination or, you know, to wherever. It happens everywhere. They take that money and allocate it towards experience trips rather than, you know, being a member at a club in their hometown. And, you know, the thing that makes that up is then they're playing public golf in their hometown as well. So, you know, I've had a lot of conversations about this, and, you know, I hear more and more, I've quit my club and I'm playing public golf in my city, which A, makes me really excited. B, it also makes me know that those people are spending money traveling. Like, that's my automatic assumption. If anyone says that they stopped playing at a private club, my immediate assumption is that now they dedicate cash to go on experience trips, right? I mean, it just makes sense. And I just think that, you know, the modern day culture of golf is more about getting to see different places and having these different golf experiences. And, you know, travel has always been a thing, right? Golf travel has always been there, but it's been very, very destination based. Like, American golfers would go to Scotland, you know, and Pebble Beach, and like very, very specific places. Now, I think that, you know, people like myself and others in the industry that are traveling a lot and showcasing all these different experiences and places is enticing people to go see them, right? And have those experiences for themselves. So I know I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, I mean, that's me and Ashton in a nutshell, to be honest. I mean, we just had one of our best experiences, I think, together, and probably ever, you know, golfing period. We, you know, I hit up Coos Golf Club, Andre, which I know you actually have been out there with golf balling, actually.
I played the Muni Madness game out there.
Yeah, you and B went out there, and we just played Muni Madness with them as well. And dude, that was the sickest thing ever. And Andre and his brother Paulo, you can't you can't find anybody like them. They are just like gems all in them, you know, all in themselves. Like, it's crazy how awesome those two are.
Yeah. I mean, I fell in love with that place real easy. You know, I spent one day there with, you know, a bunch of my looper friends out at Bandon, and yeah, it was such a fantastic day. I mean, playing off of what I just said, then you take someone like myself that takes those golf travel experiences and really elevates it to the next level, right? Like, here I brought Brandon out from San Francisco. He was on one of my golf wall experience trips at the time. So basically, one of the ways that I was raising money for this community service project that I was doing was offering different photo and travel experiences with me. And Brandon was one of the first people to sign up for it. I picked him up in San Francisco after the community service initiative there, took him up to Bandon. We actually camped at one of my caddy friend's properties. He used to live on a cranberry farm. So we camped on the cranberry bog for a couple days. We didn't hire caddies at Bandon to carry our bags. We played with caddies at Bandon. You know, it was a fantastic trip. I got to take them on the beach below Old Mac 4x4ing. You know, we did a lot of cool stuff that trip. And, you know, going up to Coos that day for the Muni Madness game was part of it as well. You know, playing with 20 caddies is always a good time.
That was the sickest thing ever. I mean, we got to play with Chris and Maddie too, you know, husband and wife like duo, the caddies abandoned earlier in the day. And they were like the sickest people ever. And then we got to meet 15 or 16 more of the caddies later in the day. I've never seen more people party as hard as they did while we were playing. It was the best time.
Yeah,
I mean, it was so good.
Why I get along with caddies so well, right? And it's a very similar lifestyle. You know, my whole background comes from my love of the ski and snow culture, right? Like, I was a ski bum at heart. Like, I used to work seasonal jobs in hotels so that I could snowboard 100 days a year. So like my whole travel lifestyle is, you know, familiar to the game of golf through the caddy lifestyle. And I think that's part of the reason why, you know, I end up connecting. You know, it's pretty often that I'll play with members at a private club, and I'll walk away with a lifelong friend from the caddy that I had. Like, it happens all the time. And, you know, it's one of the cool things about what I do. It opens up some doors to, you know, have some unique destination experiences. And oh, awesome. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, this is perfect timing. Thank you, good sir. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
So I had literally just got back from golf. So I ordered some pizza.
Hey, perfect time to chow.
It's funny, when I first started doing these pods for people with people, I used to, like, you know, get so nervous about it. Now I realize that I'm just being me out here, and here I am with a whole zot. Look at how good that looks. Oh man,
damn son.
Yeah, so here I am today, just eating pizza, bro.
Where did you play today?
I played with my coach. I played out at Weddington.
Okay.
Damn, that's fun.
What kind of pizza? You got to tell us.
LBK. This is a really, really good spot here in LA. I got the margarita pizza.
Yum.
Fantastic.
Classic.
So yeah, I played with coach today. We played at Weddington, which is just 9-hole par 3 course here. Studio City, LA. It's fun, man. It was actually really rad. I rolled up. So he's my coach. When I don't really take a whole lot of golf lessons, but every time I'm in LA, I connect with him, and, you know, I'm working on my game a little bit. I showed up today. So Ron has a really cool list of clients, like really, really cool. And I showed up today, and he was finishing up with Sylvester Stallone.
Wow.
Pretty rad.
That's pretty sick. That's a fun little connect to be able to just roll up onto. And
if you just saw this place, it's no glitz, right? It's hitting off the mats. It's an old school range. It's actually, you know, it's one of those places that's basically it's owned by a private school here in Los Angeles called Harvard Westlake. And Harvard's developing the land to create some athletic facilities and parking facilities and, you know, just some infrastructure that the school needs. And it does need it. But it's a shame because this place has been around the Los Angeles golf scene for, I don't know when it was established. I would guess the 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. But it's been around forever. And, you know, it's a really popular place here in LA, and you can go there at any time of the day. Like, yes, it's cool that my coach is, you know, teaching Sylvester Stallone how to play, but you can go there at any point in the day and run into a number of celebrities, like anybody. Like they all go there to hit balls. So it's kind of a cool spot. You know, there's been a lot of big money games out there. I mean, you think about, like, you know, back in the early 60s and stuff like that, like, you know, old school Hollywood playing money games out there. It's pretty rad.
That sounds like the Glen Eagles of down there, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how Glen Eagles is in San Francisco, where, you know, all the tech guys, everybody that works in the city in the financial district heads the Glen Eagles, and just insane amounts of cash get lost out there.
Does it bother you I'm eating pizza right now?
No, not at all. I just chowed down some pasta before we got on. No.
Person would do that, but here I am.
So
he's probably watching me out the window like, what the hell's he doing?
what the fuck? He's just talking to his computer and eating pizza? It's fucking
I
weird.
make myself real comfortable out here.
Hey, I saw it at Brandon's, so it was your facility for the time being.
You got me kind of guilty that I'm drinking out of a Masters cup right now, too.
Well, he's got a Masters sign right behind him.
Nah, we're going to fix this. I mean, advocate for public golf courses? Come on.
This boy is from Georgia, so he's all about the Augusta life.
Okay, that is a very rich interpretation.
Bad take, but, like, definitely everybody out there.
No,
There you go.
Here's a goodie for you. You ever been there? You know what that logo is? Winter Park 9 in Orlando.
Have not been yet.
I almost did it
definitely
on
on
my way
my
back
list.
from Miami, but
Talk
it's
about a fun-
just far enough away.
Talk about a fun little 9-holer. That place is fantastic.
It's right in the middle of the city, right? That's what I read a lot about, where like it's literally in the community, right?
It's in a suburb. Yeah, it's surrounded by houses and roads kind of weave through it. I mean, there's a train track that runs through it. It's fantastic. Like as far as like metropolitan city golf, it's really, really cool. It's a wealthy suburb of Orlando.
Ashton's a big Sweetens Cove advocate, and we're going to be heading out there. Hopefully, I know I see the Pats there.
Yeah.
We're going to be going out there and seeing those guys, hopefully fall time. So
Sweetens is well represented in this band. There's a flag up front. There's my patch coat. I have Rob actually sketched number 9 of Sweetens on the outside of the van.
That's
I got a Dempsey signature on here. I got the OGGM Patrick Boyd's signature on here. What else do I got? There's a lot of Sweeten stuff in here. Oh, I got the Illuminati 9 routing right here.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is like, that's the sketch itself. If you know, you know. I can't, I'm not allowed to.
We can't disclose that.
No, I said I wouldn't post it. I did.
mean, how long did you live out there?
Can you see my hand right now?
No, I can see where you're pointing, but I can't see it.
Right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's right off camera.
It's literally right off camera. Matt, how long did you stay out there?
Sweetens?
Yeah, during COVID.
During COVID, during the March trip in COVID, I was there for 17 days. Yeah. I think I should stop eating pizza because I'm just going to be chewing the whole time. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I was out there for 17 days in March of 2020. 9 of those 17 days, it was closed due to flooding. I was the only one out there. It was me and Adamski just chilling. You know, some days I wouldn't see anyone. They'd call me to be like, what's the water doing today? It was rad, man. Like,
that's cool to see though, because it's part of Sweetens. It's what they deal with on a regular basis. So to be able to see how it floods and completely goes back to a playable, surface, that's fucking insane.
It takes a ton of work, It was funny because I was there in November of 19 when I was on the road with the Golf Wall Project, my community service project. And I actually just stopped through there for the day and it actually closed due to flooding. And I was like, man, this would be like the perfect thing to do is help the grounds crew clean it up, right? Like, but unfortunately I was on like deadline to get somewhere else. Like literally I was just stopping there for the night to sleep and say, hey, and move on. So like it didn't clear the day that I had to leave. And I was like, I just gotta go. But then when it did it this time, I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Like I'm living here now. Let's do this. And they were so anxious when they started prepping days before, and I happened to be doing like a bunch of stuff, and I took in a little bit, but not near as much as I wanted to. But I was their security guard for 17 days.
That's an epic thing, though. I mean, just to be able to just post up, Sweeten 17 days,
Oh man, it was
that's a dream.
Talk about memorable experience. Like it was, I will never forget it. The best is like it was kind of hot, and I said to Rob, I was like, man, I'd love to go swimming. He's like, go do it. And I was like, what? I was like, really? He's like, yeah, if you want to go swim, like, be my guest, basically. He's like, in fact, why don't you swim through the swale on 8? I was like, man, you're out of your head. But if you're giving me the green light, I'm doing it. And I did end up backstroking through the swale on number 8.
You might be the only person that's probably swam through the middle of Sweetens Cove.
I would say that that's probably the truth. I don't know. It's funny. As soon as I posted on Instagram that I did it, I got an email from Patrick saying like, there's alligator gars in the river. Like they're coming on there when it floods. And I didn't even know like what an alligator gar is. And, sure enough, when the water receded, I found like 3 of them on the fairways.
Damn.
But like they weren't that big. I don't think they would have done it.
Yeah. That's still crazy.
Yeah. And I know we're putting you on the spot, but I'm curious, what's your favorite hole at Sweetens?
They're all so good. It's so hard to like. I don't know how you could pick one. For me, it's probably number one, and the reason I say that is because it's the first hole every time I go back there. Right, like every time I play that hole, it's like I'm back. Right? Like here, I get that feeling from a lot of places though. Like, design wise. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it evokes that emotion of, here I am, right? But I could also say the same for, the final hole on a lot of golf courses, because as I spend an extended period of time someplace like Sweetens, right? 9-hole course, who wants to spend 17 days there? I do.
Yeah.
Like any golf stick
go to a destination, they want a ton of golf holes. So a place like, Bannon or Pinehurst or somewhere that you can get a lot of variety in what you're playing. But, I get that it evokes that feeling for me if I'm playing the same place for an extended period of time. It's like, that's where you're really going to get a connection to the land, right? Like by the end of that trip, I was, sitting on the golf course, sitting in bunkers, like, I'd be playing and I'd literally stop for 2 hours and just sit in a bunker just to enjoy it. Right. Like, I didn't have anything but time. And, especially when it was flooded, it was like, what do you do? Right. Like, let's go enjoy this however we can. If I had, it's such a hard question, man. I don't know.
Oh, one's a great answer. Great answer.
Well, Ashton, what's your favorite?
5. It's a short par 4. You can drive the green. You shouldn't really. Honestly, it's more probably like a 3-wood. But there's like an asshole bunker right. I mean, you are boned.
Matt, you drive the green there?
Yeah. Don't go right.
No, don't go right. Don't hit it. No, I mean, honestly, the play is you hit 6-iron wedge. Like if you're, But again, you can hit a 3-wood on the green. But that's the fun of Sweetens is you play that hole 4 times in a day. You can try it any which way. I mean, that's why it's such a fun track of like just creating different shots in different rounds. Like, cool, I'm going to hit 6-iron wedge. This time I'm 4 up on your ass, and I'm going to try to hit a little, stinger 3-wood on the green. That's the fun part of Sweetens.
I agree.
I like that.
There's a lot of shots to be had out there.
So have you hit every single state across the United States or continental states?
I've been to every state. I haven't played golf in every state yet.
So favorite state?
I really care about. It's not. I've never been like, maybe this is the perfect time to check it all off, so I can just say yes when you want to ask me this question.
What state you roll into that you love and enjoy more than any other state that you roll into?
It's impossible. I get the same feeling from a lot of places. It's those places again that I have the connection to, right? The places that I've spent time and, built out my network. But I also get like really inspired by new places as well. Maybe it is time I check off the remainders just to be like, have those new experiences. It's perfect for Detour. Like, I'm on this current project right now that it kind of aligns well with that. I haven't really thought about it as part of this, but it's well done.
So Detour, now that you say that, give us a little bit of backing on what the new project is, what Detour is.
Well, you got to experience it. So Detour, for me, the main goal in Detour is I'm revisiting a bunch of really memorable moments and experiences from the past 4 years. And I'm telling the origin story of Golfinyourstate, but I'm telling it in a very unique manner. So by visiting the places on my patch coat that I absolutely love and connecting with people that I've built relationships with over the past 4 years, I'm going to be able to tell a really unique origin story of who I am, what I do, and not through my words, through the words of others.
I love that. I know when I got to see you, at Brandon's shop, golf balling down in Brentwood, you were recording the entire time. Kind of, you were more separated, kind of catching the behind the scenes and really letting everybody else naturally have a good time. And I could kind of see what you were doing kind of, and that was one of the coolest events I think I've ever been to, because I never met anybody there except for Brandon. And it was the first time I got to meet yourself. One of my buddies who is in the San Francisco RGC did come out, and that was probably the only other guy I knew, but I stayed until we were out there until midnight, or at least I was, when we started playing the most ridiculous, ridiculous putting game. And so if anybody ever goes out to golf ball, and it's a sick golf shop built in a gas station, like legit old retired gas station that he turned the shop of the gas station into the golf shop, where he does anything you need to fix your clubs. He's got any used clubs you're going to need if you're starting out, or if you're an advanced player. Brandon's the guy to see. But he's also just built this really sick practice facility behind the gas station, and it's got like hitting bays.
Yeah,
that Matt,
the members lounge.
Yeah, members lounge with TVs, and he's got like a air conditioned little inside unit that you can step in. He's got food and drinks, and there's a whole membership that you can join. And he's got this sick putting green that he built out there, and it's all AstroTurf. But we basically we're out there having a good time, and we started making the most ridiculous holes, from like inside the range to inside the lounge. And every single time anybody made a putt, Matt was last every single time. And how many people did you kill dreams of? It had to have been 3 or 4.
At least 4 or 5. It was like 7. I think I added up, and it was like $700 or something that I saved people.
Insane amount of money. And because it was, how much were we playing per hole?
I'm the only guy that didn't win anything. I saved the entire crew like $800, and I was the only one that ended up having to pay out at the end of the night.
Matt went last every time, and the only time he made his first putt was when he had to kill somebody else's dreams.
Yep.
It was ridiculous. That was a good time.
That might have helped my putting confidence, because I've been putting pretty well recently.
Maybe B's got a little bit going there with all the wild ass shit coming out of the range. And
yeah, I mean, let's talk about Brandon's spot for a second. I mean, absolutely fantastic. His shot, he sells everything. I mean, you imagine.
And he supports all the small brands too.
He's one of the most like generous, kind dudes I know. I mean, he does a toy giveaway on Christmas. He's done like all types of charity, community service. Like, the dude's really, really fantastic, good human. And then he runs a cool shop. Like, his model is awesome. I mean, they have used clubs, new clubs, everything you could imagine for your bag. Like, if I lived in San Francisco, that would be my golf shop. No question about it. I would be going there just for his service, in the way that like he is. It's just it's the definition of a locally run business.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he does a fantastic job with it. He's super passionate about it. I mean, he built this thing so that he could get people, just there interacting with the store and, product and him and, the game of golf, and all his friends love social media. They're all really good players. Like, it's a really cool spot. And, Brandon's obviously got my support 100%. He supported me through the years, and I mean, he backs everything that I do. Like I said, he participated in the community service project in San Francisco when we fed homeless people in Oakland. He then did that experience trip up to Oregon with me. I've seen him a lot of places. He let me post up with him at Waste Management 2019. 2019, he just said, come stay with me at this house with me and my friends. So I did. We become good friends.
He's a really good guy. I only lived in Antioch for a short period of time, and that's when I found out about his shop. But I worked at another golf shop. I worked for Golf Mart, building golf clubs for them. But I used to come to Brandon's shop all the time just to be able to support him, and to be honest, just to shoot the shit with Brandon, because it was just a good time to go in there and chat with him.
Well, now you've made friends with all his boys, so you know what it's like. You know what it's really like.
Oh, Billy told me to tell you what's up.
Oh, right on.
I've been chatting with him a little bit. He was like, you got to tell Cardis what's up for him. Yeah, good group of guys. And I mean, yeah, please, if you're in the East Bay, any of our listeners, please stop in and see Brandon golf ball in Brentwood. He will take care of you. Absolutely.
What do you want to do now, Chris?
Dude, let's talk hidden gems. So for us, that's for me, it's my hidden treasure. That's what I'm constantly searching for, is to find the hidden gem.
Yep.
Favorite, let's say top 5 favorite hidden gems that you found while you've been doing golf in your state.
You know,
Like courses you probably would have never come across unless you were on this journey.
Let's start with the term hidden gem, right? Because I don't.
We had a discussion about that on the pod.
I don't like the term. You know, there's gems, right? There's great golf courses everywhere.
Different levels.
I can verify that. There's great golf courses everywhere. Hidden's like, you know, it's never hidden. It's always right in front of our faces. It's a matter if we make the effort to go find it or not, right? So, you know, as soon as anything's out there, as soon as one photo goes out about a place, right, it's no longer hidden. As soon as one person talks about it, you know, 15 other people are going to claim that, you know, here's a hidden gem, right? Yeah. Well, as soon as that first person says it, it's no longer hidden because they found out about it through this person who found about it through that person. Like it just, the term to me bothers me. But there are lots of great golf courses out there. And, you know, I've went out of my way to find some of these places. And to me, like, you know, a place like Gamble Sands, right? Let's use Gamble Sands in Washington as an example. Like, I knew about Gamble Sands. I knew it was there. You know, did it have like a ton of recognition at the time? It was up and coming, right? Like it was starting to get traction. You know, it was bumping up the state lists. I think it took over Chambers at this point as the best in state. But, you know, I can look at places like Rams Hill and, you know, a bunch of these places that I've found in my travels. And, you know, they're fantastic golf courses, really unique golf experiences, beautiful destinations, like everything that you're looking for. But, you know, the word hidden gem to me just doesn't truly, you know, describe what the place is, right? It's, you know, a great golf course in a remote location that takes a hell of a lot of effort to, one, find it, two, go travel to it. And once you do, like, you will remember that experience forever. And, you know, I got a lot of those places, you know, I just named 2 of them, Gamble Sands in Washington, Rams Hill Golf Club in Southern California, Prairie Club in Western Nebraska would definitely be one of those places. Sweetens Cove would definitely be another one of those places. I mean, when I first visited Sweetens Cove, like, it was still getting off the ground, right? Like, you know, I showed up and it was still, I mean, I saw it in its infancy, right? Like at the very beginning, it had nothing.
No Peyton Manning ties at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it hadn't seen the growth or, you know, the growth in popularity and attention that it clearly deserves. You know, it just wasn't on people's radar. But, you know, with me visiting and, you know, 1,000 other people visiting and posting photos on social, like it's now getting the recognition that it deserves. You know, I couldn't be happier for Rob, like, you know, to see him take that place and then spark it into, you know, a bunch of other projects and, you know, building out a incredible portfolio of golf course. Like, dude, he's a very, very, very talented man along with that. So,
I mean, Rob is sick. I mean, he reminds me a little bit more of like the Strantz style of architecture. Yeah. If I was going to compare him with anybody, and he's not even really comparable because he's his own kind of style of what he does. Yeah. But it's out there. It's unique. People are going to seek him out because he designs things the way he designs them.
You know, you're seeing the popularity of new age architecture these days, right? Like, you know, Gil and Rob, and there's a ton of them. But, you know, it's for me, I love them because they're so visually appealing, right? Like, one, they look absolutely fantastic. Two, they're super fun to play. And most of them were designed for, people like ourselves that like to walk and, just have a good time. And it's, fortunate that a lot of, the atmosphere that's created by the architecture, right? You take a place like Sweetens, it just lends itself for like fun golf. Like, that's what the place is all about, and always has been. Like, that was Rob's vision for it, is like, I want to create a really fun golf course. And it wasn't just the golf course itself, it's also, the atmosphere that's created by the clubhouse and what they do with the brand, all of it. So kudos to you, Rob.
Dude.
And the thing I love too is like, this is like a very personal story, but I mean, I think the other thing that, you've heard kind of through the grapevine, but I know my first time there was last May, and we were probably on our third loop. Everyone was on the golf course. There was nobody really by there. I was waiting on my dad, and I was standing up at the tee box, and I look over, and Rob just kind of walks over and just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I was like, in my head, I'm like, I know who that is, Yeah. He's just like very normal. And then he kind of sits there and he washes his head our tee shots and goes, "It's a really nice drive." And I was like, "Thanks." Just like walks away. He's in kind of his like slightly beat up BMW, pulls in, is talking to different people, leaves, comes back. And I think there's just that normalcy factor of, going back to what you were saying in your early days, what we talk a lot about is we've both had, ironically, the thing about all three of us is we all are obsessed with golf, but we've all had extended periods away. Like for me, what drove me away from golf for a while was like my high school golf experience was being a part of a team that like didn't feel like a team of people who like, they're looking at the scores that you kind of talking behind your hands. And growing up in Atlanta, we actually played all private golf course. So I had this added pressure of like, man, if I want to play Atlanta Athletic Club, this is kind of my one time to do it. And I just shot 50 in front of my teammates, and it just kind of made me want to step away. But that's kind of what I love so much about Sweetens. And honestly, one of the reasons I personally was so excited to talk to you, because what resonates so much with you is just like, it's like you can just go and be who you are and love this game. That's the only expectation. Like, we're on this call tonight because we love public golf, but it's just that understanding of like, hey man, like be yourself, eat, like it's not, like eat pizza, hang out. Like that's the idea, where it doesn't have to be this like coat and tie. There's a time for that. Right. Yeah. Just the inclusivity factor is what I think makes Sweden so special. And also the little golf community that we all love, right? It's like, bring your dog and wear a LeBron jersey. We don't care. Like, just come and have fun,
I don't know why. I mean, I understand why some people are so uptight about it, right? Like, some people are just so set on tradition, right? That, it's tough for some to accept the modern day culture of golf. But, I obviously lean toward your side and come as you are. If you want to wear a t-shirt on the golf course, do it. If you want to bring your dog, do it. If you want to listen to music, play in large groups, do whatever you got to do, as long as you're not impeding the people around you, right? Like,
play fast,
play behind, don't hit into the people in front of you. Like, that's the only thing that I care about.
Matt, I'm curious, obviously, like, this is going to go out to a whole bunch of, hopefully people all over we actually have, listeners weirdly like South Korea and stuff. But obviously a big part of our listenership is in the Bay Area. So we've talked way too much about Bay Area golf, but I'm curious, like, do you have, and we're not going to use hidden gems. Chris, I need to be more mindful of using hidden gems, but I'm curious.
We just talked about that in the last pod.
Yeah. But are there certain courses that you really love in the Bay Area? I mean, I just love your perspective as someone who's seen so much golf, like really places that really resonate with you here.
The one I've had the most, connection to is Carica Park, for sure, out in Alameda. One
of our favorites.
Back in the day with, my friendships over at Link Soul kind of led me to finding it when they redid the course, and hearing about the future development plans, and the second course is being built right now. It's one of those places that I think is really special in the area. So that'd be one that I'd probably bring attention to for sure. I haven't played a whole lot of public golf in San Francisco, sadly. I haven't played a whole lot of golf like in San Francisco proper. sadly. I've played Presidio, which, I used to have a good friend that lived in the Presidio. So, it was actually an ex-girlfriend of mine. So when I used to go visit her, I'd go play there. That was before Golfinyourstate days. So yeah, that's one that I've played a bunch. I'm trying to think of others, but
no, Krika, we've talked about Krika a lot. Krika is a really lovely place. And again, sort of this more modern age, it's really good. And then also, I'm just curious, I'm, like Chris said, I'm originally from Atlanta. I'm curious, like, I don't know if you spend enough time there.
Park? Sorry, Sharp Park?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. How could I forget that?
And man, if we ever win the lottery, can we please dump a little bit of money into that place? It would be such a wonderful, I mean, it already is wonderful, but
the one that's right on the water, is it Jefferson? There was one that I drove by last time when I was just there. No, it was during the US Open Trophy Tour.
Was it in the city?
It was, I think, over by Olympic somewhere. So I think we were on our way to Olympic when we passed by it. I was like, I gotta come back. I'll be able to find it on a map here.
On the water in the city.
There was only one hole that kind of like overlooked the water, and that's where the road was.
now I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I'll try and find it.
Was it Lake Merced or Cal?
No, it was public.
And it wasn't Harding.
No, it wasn't Harding. Oh, Harding Park. How could I forget that one? Man, I've played some good public golf in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
There's only a minimal amount of public golf in the city. So, I mean, you've got about 5 options.
That's where the word gem like gets super confusing for me though, right? I start trying to think like too deep rather than just like what the good ones are that everybody would know, right? Like, how could I forget about Harding Park? But I've played it multiple times. But it's not like the first one that I completely buried it in my brain right there. Because I started thinking like, okay, trying to dig deeper that, where would, a potential person that lives in San Francisco may have not played that this might help them go find a new place, right? That's
but so
those two.
Matt, you need to check out, have you played Golden Gate Park?
No.
If you like par 3 courses, Golden Gate Park has got to be one of my top.
Even if you don't, it's just like, it's so your vibe. Like, it's owned by like the San Francisco Parks Department. The guys running the shop are just like,
their clubhouse,
slinging $5 beers and just like letting people hang out. It's great.
Yeah. And their clubhouse is just like a modular unit.
Oh, Lincoln.
Lincoln's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, you get what is it? 17, you get one of the best views in like.
See, that's one that like
golf.
I have not played it, but just looking at it, it looked fantastic.
It's quirky as hell. So it is such a crazy track.
Such a crazy track.
On the street there.
Lincoln's sick. So we've had conversations about it. The only issue we have with Lincoln is that the city puts so much money into Harding that Lincoln's kind of like the beaten up stepchild of the city. And it's great for the locals because we got a boy named Juan that he's literally mayor of Lincoln Park. And he just goes out there and they love him so much. I don't even think he pays the majority of the time he plays.
There's also one of the reasons why I think he loves it so much.
That too.
That's a great reason to love any golf course. What's the green fee out there versus Harding Park?
What, 40 bucks?
It's so the caveat with Harding though is it's all about having your resident card. It's like I have a resident card in San Francisco. Harding on like a Monday is like 50, on a weekend it's like 75, and like Lincoln is like more expensive than you think it would be.
That's with the resident card.
Yeah, but without a residence card, it's like $200-$300. Not worth it.
Yeah, Harding, for someone like me or like Brandon coming from there. How much
money you have in the bank account, right? Not worth it. If I'm a rich man,
Well, and also too, I should clarify. It's actually perfect. It's a Torrey example, right? Which I want to hear also about your recent experience at Torrey, because it's like, hey, if you want to come play where John Rahm won, you're subsidizing us as normal people to play here. That's the way it should be. Like if you want to come hit Colin Morikawa's tee shot, it's going to cost you, but come play here so that like as locals, we can play here for $50. It's great. It's fantastic.
And that's the reason they can charge that.
I think that is a great model. I've been burnt by it many, many times. Going to New York and wanting to go play Bethpage, it always stings to pay that money. But at the same time, I recognize that the golf course demands what it demands, right?
Yep.
I'm willing to pay. It's up to every individual if they're willing to pay that price gap, right? It always sucks, visiting San Diego and playing with San Diego locals that get the reduced rate, and I have to fork out an arm and a leg to go play there.
Yeah.
Right? Same with Bethpage and, Harding and all these other places. But, I think it really, if they priced it at that higher price point, they would lose that whole local demographic.
For sure.
So, good on some of these municipal golf courses that, reward local play by, offering them a reduced rate at a fantastic facility.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone at Torrey or Bethpage would gripe about the local fee to play what they're playing.
No.
Especially when they know what non-locals are paying, right?
Yeah.
It almost creates a value to the local community being like, well, if everybody thought about it in that manner, if Torrey charged the same amount for every single person to play there, they would lose that local market. But, with them doing it the way they do it, it entices locals to play. If locals really thought about that, they'd be like, oh, I'm stoked to play for $75 any day of the week. Right?
It's all perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah. No, totally. Well, and Matt, speaking of Torrey, would love to hear kind of about, your journey with the USGA. And I saw a lot of stuff with you in the US Open Trophy. Would love to hear some of that story too.
Yeah. So last year, I was hired by the USGA to do the US Open Trophy Tour, presented by Lexus. So Lexus sponsored this whole trip that basically what I did was I took the US Open Trophy for 24 days, picked it up at Wingfoot, delivered it to Torrey Pines. I took it to 8 different locations, creating video content for the USGA. Those videos are on the USGA YouTube channel. It was a really cool experience, just even completely humbled to even have the opportunity to have it in my possession, no less be creating content for the USGA. It was really rad.
Yeah, I saw you stopped into our boys' place, State Apparel.
Yeah.
And I was so bummed because I think we were both out of town that weekend.
Really?
And I just completely missed it. I saw Brandon drove all the way out from Brentwood to come meet you. I was so bummed because I'm even more sad that place no longer, has a brick and mortar.
That was actually one of the last events. It's funny because I actually was there for the grand opening event. When I did my Highway Golf Series, or no, it wasn't the Highway Golf Series. It was Wedge Wizard and I did a California trip from SoCal up to NorCal. And we did like a little meet and greet at State Apparel during that trip. That was back in 17, 18. And I want to say it was like shortly after Jason had opened that location. And Jason and I have become really close over the years and really, really good dude. And I hit him up to do this one, kind of not knowing what was going on. And so I just reached out, and of course he was so generous and kind to let me do it there during COVID. Like, it was not the easiest thing, to convince anyone for me to organize a little meet and greet, but we kept it really safe for everyone. I basically brought people in one at a time into the store. It was the funnest part of the project for me, right? Like, so in each of the video pieces, basically what I did was I created 8 videos for the USGA, Whitfoot, Pinehurst, Oakmont, Erin Hills, Cherry Hills, Olympic Club, Pebble Beach, and Torrey Pines. And so for each of the pieces, it was like a little bit of course history, USGA championship history that's taken place there, US Women's Open, US Open, US Amateur. So a little bit of course history, a little bit of course sizzle to get people excited about the locations. And then what I did for the finale was basically put the hands in the put the trophy in the hands of passionate golfers within the community. And what I did was, in each of the places that we went to, I reached out to certain people I knew that would genuinely appreciate having this thing in their hands. So it was by far my favorite part of the whole thing. And yeah, that's where I kind of hosted the Olympic Club offsite, was at State Apparel. And it just coincidentally happened to be right before he shut down due to COVID. So it was the last event that he actually had there.
So Jason was actually going to design and make all of my my uniforms for my high school program that year.
Really?
Yeah, so we were already in talks about getting it all set up, and then the season just got shut down. We only got to play one match, and then it ended. So I was really bummed out about that. And
He makes really good stuff, man.
Quality product.
I didn't realize too until that night. It was kind of strange actually showing up there, because I did not realize until that night that he was doing Western Gales as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of put all that together at that event there, and yeah, he's really talented dude.
Anybody that's looking for good golf apparel, and I would say probably some of the best golf pants ever made in the market, like killer apparel. He even puts a patch on the bottom of the pants to wipe your golf clubs off of. I mean, super ingenious. You can find his stuff on State Apparel online, and also Western Gales recycled sailboat sails turned into head covers. Like,
So sick.
so sick. And I think he even used recycled UPS and FedEx bags and stuff that he was making head covers out of.
You'll love this.
There it is. His little tea pocket. I like that.
Put on the coat.
Oh, that's incredible. So
He hasn't
guys,
even seen that yet. I actually just got this back today. This was a new add-on today.
So guys, all right, Matt, we got to have you explain the coat.
All right, so my patch coat to me is all about the places that I've been able to create a connection with, right? It's all in my favorite places. It's not like I just put any patch on here. It's all deconstructed golf flags. So the way I created it was, I bought this fancy coat, and then I collected golf flags in my travels, deconstructed the golf flags, and created the patch coat. It means a lot to me because it's places exactly like I was talking about the signatures on the van, right? It takes me back to, all the moments that I've had with all the fantastic people in these communities. And, I look at all these courses and it means a lot more than just golf to me, right? Like, as I look at the Pinehurst patch, it takes me back to every single experience I've had there and every single relationship and connection and, all those bad shots I had out there, all the good ones too, right? Like, man, I can just look at every single one on here, and they're all special. They're all special for their own reason and their own people behind them.
So is this gonna put you on the spot?
You were asking me the questions earlier. I should have just had the code out. Like,
should have.
All my answers are right here.
Favorite logo? I know that's the most loaded question ever, but you've got some sick ass logos on the coat. But there's some sick logos in golf.
I would have to say Pasa's damn close to my favorite. It's up there. Pinehurst is tough for me to beat. I think I could start looking at all this. Like, Bethpage is up there. I love the Aaron Hills logo. I love Bandon, the Puffin.
Bandon has so many good logos, though. It's not even just the normal Bandon Resort logo. I mean, I would say that the simple Sheep Ranch logo is one of my favorites. It's not a lot, but it's just enough to be perfect. So on Detour in LA now, just finished up with US Open. Where's the journey taking you next?
So this next stretch of the Detour basically is taking me from the West Coast to East Coast. So I'm riding the Southern United States, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Panhandle, Florida, Jacksonville, Miami. That's the next little stretch here. Then the third leg is going to be up the eastern coast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, Maryland, New York. Dude, I'm all over the place. And then I'm heading all the way back out west.
Any specific courses you've lined up, or are you just hitting places that you've got on your radar?
It's yes, there's definitely a schedule of locations and people based on what I was saying earlier, right? So basically on this trip, what I'm doing is revisiting those memorable moments and experiences from the past 4 years. So it's it's pretty outlined as far as where I'm going and who I'm seeing and what we're doing. Just because I want to, as I've met up with people and become friends with them over the past 4 years, I want to flash back to where we met 3 years ago and the first experience we had together. Talk about how the relationship's grown and, all those kind of things. So, yeah.
That's sick. I mean, I'm excited to keep an eye out on the Instagram and see what the journey has to hold.
Yeah, it's pretty cool too because again on this trip, me being me as I typically do, I'm kind of holding it close to my chest a little bit. Like what you're seeing on social during the actual production is just a little tiny piece of it. The video content that I'm creating is really the main goal in all of this. So I'm pretty excited to see, I just finished leg one. I've been working on post for, a little while I've been here. So I'm excited for that stuff to start rolling out that, people will have the opportunity to see it and also know that I'm still on the road doing it, that, it's only going to get bigger and bigger, I think, as I go on. So
where can people find the content? Is it all on your YouTube channel?
It will be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be putting out little teasers and pieces onto Instagram, and then I'm going to let the long form live on YouTube for this one. At least as far as I can tell at this point. YouTube's been a real challenge for me to get people over there for some reason, right? Most people want to just watch my content on Instagram and not follow me linking them to YouTube.
But the content's great on YouTube. The whole Sweetens, saga that you did was fantastic.
I want to get as many eyes on it as I can, right? But it's I've had a hard time just finding the way to get people over there. I mean, I wasn't a YouTube user prior to posting content on YouTube, so I get it, right? I would go on there and search how to make a birthday cake, right? And that's what I used YouTube for. It was as a search engine almost to find video content to teach me how to do something. That's what and I think that's what a lot of consumers use it for. So I'm trying to figure out how I can entice people to actually go over there and watch it there. But I'll probably just keep putting it on Instagram. But if you're watching this, go to my YouTube, please subscribe. I would appreciate it.
Please subscribe to Golfinyourstate on YouTube. It's worth it. Watch the backlog of content that he's got because it is really good. And I'm not just tooting his horn because he's on our fucking podcast. It's good. Especially this, like I said, the Sweeten saga got me going. I liked it. It was a really, really good amount of content.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the golf van eating out of a golf mug. I mean, I love golf.
This guy lives golf. So, I mean, if you haven't checked out Golfinyourstate, please go follow him on Instagram, on all the social media platforms. Are you on all social media platforms or are we just on Instagram?
I mean, Instagram is my primary. I got YouTube, Facebook. I mean, there's Golfinyourstate, everything. I mean, if you want to find it, you can find it.
Go and find it. He's got his website.
I put the majority of my content on Instagram. It's by far the best place to follow.
So please give him a follow on Instagram. I mean, Matt, we appreciate you coming on.
Big time.
It was a absolute pleasure to be able to chat with you. And it was fucking great to meet you at Brandon's spot at Golf Ball.
I'll do it again next time I'm up in NorCal.
Yeah. I mean,
next time you're in SF, let's go play Lincoln.
I love it.
Let's do it.
And so now I'm in Portland. So when you come up through Portland, come see the Muni kids. Come hang out with me. We'll go over to Wildwood and we'll get it in.
Yeah, Wildwood. I missed that place. I mean, there's another great example, man. Like, you know, I attended it, so Wildwood actually made it onto the patch coat, but not. It's not a Wildwood logo. This one's even. Oh, you can't. It says
I can see it.
It says get rad. So my first time I went to Wildwood was for a fundraising event for a youth snowboarding program called Snow Days PDX. And so I went there for a fundraising event, played in this event, like amazing group of dudes. I actually ended up playing again with them at Witch Hollow when I was back this last trip. But that's how I connected with Wildwood. And, you know, I've connected with, kept in touch with Ryan over the years. And here I am back 2 years later. I ended up staying out there for like 4 days, camping in the parking lot, and had a blast with them. Like, that's a big part of the Detour Oregon segment is going to be from Wildwood. So
I hope so, because Ryan and Aaron are two of the sickest guys ever. And I'm actually going dew sweeping with them and Max and Drew from Muni Kids on Thursday. So we're going to go out and play 5 a.m.
There we go.
Get 18 in super early in the morning. I mean, you can't get better vibes than going out to Wildwood. They've changed it. The new logo is crazy.
I know, the Sasquatch.
So good.
He showed it to me when I was there. I was like, yeah, bro, you're on to something here.
They're changing the culture, and it's kind of what we need in golf, is to have people like them running golf courses. Yeah. Because they're the guys that if you wanted to come out in a jersey, you know, if you wanted to come out in your Damian Lillard jersey and in basketball shorts, rocking Vans, they don't give a shit. You're a paying customer. They're going to treat you the same as a guy that comes in a regular golf outfit.
100%.
Matt, thank you so much for eating pizza and talking to us. We really, really appreciate it, man. It's been really fun.